Hello and welcome to the Walking Dead After Show here at theStream.tv. I am your host, Malynda Hale, and that was a crazy episode. We all kind of called it. We knew that Eugene was a liar, and I can't wait to talk about that with you guys. So go ahead and invite your friends to join in on the conversation on YouTube and tweet us using the hashtag TWDAS, and we'll hopefully answer some of your questions at the end of the show. But here to talk about that episode with me are my co-hosts. They're going to introduce themselves, starting over here.
David.
And what kind of intro was that, sir? It's like, David. I love it. Okay, and to my right.
Hey guys, I am Glenna Gasparian, and I have a very heavy heart right now, or I'm having heart palpitations, or both.
It was a serious episode. And to the far left.
Hey guys, Kegan Schell, and I think I'm going to start exclusively referring to Eugene as Tennessee Top Hat from now on.
I love
good.
that he said Tennessee Top Hat. That was great. I love that they addressed his mullet because we were all wondering about the mullet in the first place. So, okay, let's dive into this episode. What do we think, just starting off, is the fate for now the Washington, D.C. group? We have a bunch, well, if they're even going to Washington, D.C. now, but what do we think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to head back to the church and try to reunite with Rick and the other group? Do you think they're going to keep going on their own somewhere? Do you think they'll stay back where they, like, what do you think is going to happen? The bus crashed, we saw that, and all this stuff with Eugene happened, but...
I actually haven't even thought about it, but it's possible that they might find like another base and kind of like where they were before, and then maybe the group will find them, or obviously something really bad is going to go down. They're all going to find each other. I don't know.
I kind of think that all roads kind of lead back to Rick, and the group will probably end up just together again.
Right.
The show likes to do this thing where they take everybody on separate paths to just bring them all, mash them all back together.
Right,
yeah.
Absolutely. What
Yeah,
do you think,
I definitely think they're going to go back to the church. I mean, they got to. At this point, it really doesn't make sense. And if they don't, then what if Rick and the group leaves and not without knowing, whatever's going on? So I think logically, at least Glenn and Maggie are going to definitely go back.
Right.
Yeah, watch they never find them. The rest of the group gets to DC. It's like, where are they? Where's everybody?
Right. I thought it could be possible that they might end up at that hospital on their way back for some reason. That would just keep their time at the hospital longer, but that could be interesting, kind of like the Terminus thing we talked about last week. But do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, I could see it kind of culminating in the hospital where maybe Rick has to go in there to get everyone, and that could be a big boiling point for some point during this season.
God, now I'm just thinking, like, what now? There's
Right.
always something that's pushing them towards. Maybe there's that hope, but like now it's like, okay, cool. Well, no.
Right.
What now? Like, that's the question. What now?
It definitely is a question. Moving on from that, though, so we see that, they got held up in a place, the bus crashed, and why did the bus crash? Because Eugene sabotaged it. And that's when I first started to think, okay, maybe this guy's lying. He's not the one, which we obviously found out that he's not. But how do we feel about this whole episode kind of centering around Eugene and Abraham with all the flashbacks?
I liked it. I liked getting to know more of these characters. And I mean, Abraham especially is now so much more sympathetic because you see what he's gone through, what he's lost, trying to save the people he loves, and why he's so driven in this goal. So it was cool to see it all come together like that. And now you understand why he beats the shit out of Eugene when he finds out he's a liar.
Because, who do we think that those people were that he was with? Do we think that was his wife and his kids?
Yeah.
I definitely think so.
Definitely, that little boy definitely looked like him.
But I have to give it to Abraham. Like, you're an idiot. Like, I didn't believe Eugene from the first time he opened his mouth. But I mean, he caught him in a weak spot, I guess.
Yeah, at that point,
But the first person that comes up to you and says, I have a mission, you see him stand up straight like he was a soldier again. Like, poor guy.
But do you think that's the main reason why he believed Eugene? Because he was in such a weak...
It had, like you said, what's the point? I think that was Abraham's point. It gave him something to do.
Because he failed at saving his family. So he felt like, okay, if I have this other person to save, there's this big mission for me. I feel like I'm going to have a purpose. And he's dedicated this whole time to being with Eugene, and then Eugene stabs him in the back.
Man, that was rough to watch.
Right. It was really sad.
And
But do we feel bad for Eugene? Because I kind of felt bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I felt really, really bad for him when he finally told the truth. You're laughing because you don't feel bad at all.
No, I totally. I mean, he was crying like a baby.
He was.
And when you see, okay, it's like the apocalypse. Come on, like you can't blame him for trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just felt really bad for him when he was crying, because he was just like, man, that was a cry.
It was sad, and he was lonely. But what were you going to say, Kegan?
Well, he's just doing his version of what everyone else does. He's doing what he has to do to survive.
Right.
Everyone else can get by on like shooting zombies in the head and fighting everyone up. Like he can't do that. He doesn't have the constitution to do that. So he uses what he has, which is
Manipulation.
Absolutely.
he
Which we
manipulates
saw his
people, yeah.
weakness. He was running after Abraham, like, help me, kill them. You know, and that's why Abraham took him under his wing. But you don't feel so bad for him at all, you're saying.
Like that he got punched in the face?
Yeah, just
no,
like...
I don't feel bad for him at all. Like, come on, like I said, like, nobody... I mean, I don't feel bad for anybody who believed him in the first place either. You're idiots. Like I said, nobody with a mullet has saved the world.
Oh my God.
Ever.
That's true. You did say.
But wait, what did somebody say on YouTube?
They said Metal Gear Solid Snake, and just for I've played all those games, and Solid Snake does not have a mullet. It's just really long hair and a ponytail. All right, it's not the same
You're
thing.
defending it. I love it. So at the end, we saw, Abraham loses his mind. He beats the crap out of him. Do we think that Eugene's dead?
Oh, I hope so.
I don't know. I almost thought, honestly, at the end that maybe Abraham was going to, like, kill himself.
That's what I
because he
thought
felt
too,
so
yeah.
bad, and then he failed, and he, probably felt stupid for believing him this whole time. So I thought that's what was going to happen, but he jacked him up pretty good.
I hope he's dead. Because what you said, like, Eugene's survival instincts is manipulation. Well, unfortunately, that would be really great on Wall Street, but I don't see that getting you very far in a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
What is that going to do to help you live other than get other people to fight your battles for you?
I'm not sure that he's dead. I think if he were dead, he would have died this episode. But I think they like to let you think things,
Right.
and then I don't know. He could be like really, really hurt.
Well, if he's alive, though, what do you think his fate is? What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to abandon him, let him go with them?
No.
I think a lot of people are going to want to, be it Maggie, Glenn, and Abraham, but I think Tara will be his, the one who sticks by him, because Tara is, she's got the best heart of all of them, and
Right,
I think she really does
completely
have his
agree.
back, even through this manipulative crazy that has just been exposed.
Right. There was a glimmer of hope we kind of had in this episode that he may have been, a scientist or truthful. David, he pointed it out when they were in the library and he turned the fire on with the battery. We're like, oh,
Yeah, he made some fire with
he
batteries.
make a fire with battery. Maybe he can save the world. It was kind of funny, but no, he did not do so. So,
This is because I figured it was the only smart thing I've actually ever seen this guy do.
He hasn't done anything useful.
Well,
I mean, he's reading good literature, we saw.
Right. This whole episode kind of was like, oh, okay, maybe he does know what he's talking about.
And the way he knew how to sabotage the truck to make sure that it would, break down at the right precise moment. Like, okay, maybe he knows his stuff, but unfortunately didn't end that well. So you're like, whatever, he has no sympathy for him. I feel so bad for him.
I do too.
But what I really liked about this episode also, and Kegan, I think you mentioned it, that it was a lot about relationships and figuring out these people, because we didn't know much about Abraham. But what do we think? There's got to be more to his story. I'm just curious to know what you guys think as far as the flashbacks go, why those were so important.
Oh, Abraham?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you see what he's lost, and that puts more emphasis on his relationship with Rosita. Like, that's one reason that I've noticed he listens to her more so than anyone else.
Absolutely.
And because that's his person now.
Right.
That's who he's got, and I think that's very important to who Abraham is. So I think it's kind of like speculative for me that something bad is going to happen to her, and that might be his breaking point, his second breaking point.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think the purpose of the flashbacks is now we see a lot of where he comes from. We see he's got a lot of anger inside, and now we know why, what happens. And not only that, we got to see how him and Eugene met, which really sees the path that these guys started. So we know him and Eugene have been together from the beginning. He was the first with Eugene.
Yeah.
So all these people that they said they've lost along the way, Abraham was there for all of it as well.
Right.
So I think that really, when Abraham was really upset that he led a lot of people to their deaths because
to
of
protect
Eugene.
this one person. Right. Before we move on to our next topic, keep inviting your friends to join us in on this conversation. We want to hear what you have to say. And remember to tweet us at the hashtag TWDAS. You touched on a really good point that now I'm forgetting what I was going to say. But with Abraham, kind of bringing Eugene under his wing, and then he meets Rosita. Do you think they're ever going to show how he met Rosita? I'm really interested to see how that relationship.
He probably saved her from a stripper bar, like
oh, come on.
the zombie strippers movie. He
Why do
probably
you
walked
think
into that set.
You're terrible. You're
I'm
terrible.
just saying that she just got that
Feel
I'm
for
barely
you.
gonna wear some clothes and walk around attitude.
Stop.
I hated her when I first saw her.
Really?
Because she was like a little bore for me. That means boring. But now she's starting to have her own kind of her own.
She's coming to her own.
Yeah,
She has her
yes,
own
yes,
personality. Because I
thank
feel
you.
like in a lot of the episodes, she just went along with whatever Abraham wanted and what he did. And I feel like this is the first time we saw her stand up to him, when they came across that farm of zombies. And she's like, no, they're right.
And when he was going to finish off Eugene, she went for her gun. She was going to stop him, direct defiance. So
Yeah.
I feel like you need to gain everyone's respect by you have to stand up for someone for something, or
Agreed.
else you're just go get bit or something.
Right.
You know?
or go get bit. But truthfully, what do we think her story is? How do you think, any guesses on how they met?
Truthfully,
David.
he just lost his wife. Where would you go? To a bar. Probably met her there. Might be a zombie bar.
A zombie strip club. Walking Dead writers, if you're hearing this, that's what
There's
David
already a
wants to
movie.
see.
Zombie strippers. There's already a movie. Zombie
Actually,
strippers.
a
it's
real movie.
kind of interesting
Yep.
to think
Pretty
about
bad.
if they saved her, or if they if she was already strong on her own and kind of.
Because there has to be a reason why she would join them and why she would also believe Eugene. Because she doesn't really strike me as a person that would just believe that off the bat.
no, she's pretty cynical, and I think that comes off in her character. So it's kind of, I think a big thing with this Eugene thing that's gotten people to follow him is just people in this world need something.
They need hope. They need
hope.
some
They can't-
form
You
of
can't
hope.
just kind of wander around to survive, and
Right.
I think it's really important for them to have an end goal.
But do you think that the people they started with, even what's her name, the stripper girl, Rosita? Do you think that she's following Eugene, or they were all following Abram?
Well, Abraham was definitely more of a leader than Eugene, but Eugene was
The purpose.
primary
He was
objective.
absolutely the purpose.
Yeah, I'm sure she thought, oh, this guy, I trust that he thinks that.
Well, it's just you look at Rick in his group. Rick is a strong leader,
Right.
and people follow him because of that. Abram, in his own way, is another strong leader, and he had a group of people to come and help him with this Eugene thing.
But they were following him based on false pretenses.
Yeah.
Rick's he's always been very forward about what, he's even kind of exclusive about who he lets into the group because he wants everybody in the group to be strong and honest and blah, 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 blah. But I'm really curious actually to see how they're all going to react when they find out that Eugene lied. I feel like Rick's going to lose it.
I think Rick's going to be like, I knew it.
Yeah.
He's gonna machete.
Well, before we get into our fan questions, we're going to take a quick little break. Thanks for tuning in. And remember to invite your friends to join in on the conversation. Tweet us at TWDAS, and we'll be right back with your fan questions. Thanks so much.
Just in case you missed it live.
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 In case you missed it live, I'm not fake, I'm so real, okay?
Hey, who's excited?
She's a little superhero slut because she's so. I just pissed everybody off.
She's like such a glamazon. Join the writer team because you are hot.
And I loved it.
That is like tension beyond belief. I found her to be
deliciously out of control.
We were all just looked at each other, just like, ah.
So we can assume that you've written letters to inmates before.
Give me the diamonds. I need them for my wife.
Take charge and kill everyone.
This Holocaust coffin!
You were agreeing with me, so I think it was a great point.
Good.
You know, you can't count anything out.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Oh my God.
What's your shoe size? My size.
Well, that was pretty awesome.
Oh my God.
Very cool.
Hello and welcome back to the Walking Dead After Show on theStream.tv. I am your host, Malynda Hale, and I'm joined by David, Glenna, and Kegan. And we were just talking about how crazy this episode is, and we're gonna get into your fan questions now, that's our favorite part. So Vanessa Sanchez asked, do you really think Eugene knows a cure? Well, as we saw in this episode, unfortunately, he does not have a cure. But do we think that he has anything to offer to the group?
Oh.
What were you gonna say?
I think he knows a little bit. Like, he knows that there may be something over there that can help, but he has had nothing to do with all of the actual scientists that, I think that maybe he thinks or thought maybe he could try to fix things.
You really think that?
Well, that's
She's like Team Eugene.
I mean, he can use a battery for fire, so yeah.
Use a well, with that in mind, I don't think that there's anything in DC. He's not going to fix the world.
Right.
But I think if the group ever found themselves in another situation where they would have like a prison to work out, I think Eugene would be a very useful person to have around, that maybe he would figure out a way to get them electricity.
He's resourceful
and running
with those,
water again or something like that.
Right.
Under those circumstances. Other than that, I don't think he's pretty useless on the wander.
What were we going to say?
Well, he even said in regards to getting to DC, he was going to do everything he could to stop it. He would purposely sabotage them because he was getting scared as they got closer, because he knew he couldn't live up to what he was promising everyone.
Right. But then again, he could have just gone to DC and peaced out when he got there. I'm just saying he could have, but he didn't. So I think it was kind of, I was gonna say it was kind of admirable that he finally owned up to it, but it's only because it was getting intense and there was all these,
Because he was about to get drugged through a zombie farm. That's why. He was like, no.
Yeah, he's like, hold up, no. Right. Oh, that's so funny. All right. So our next fan question is from Chris Rocker, and he asks. Well, he says, Rick is insane. Yes, we all know. Am I the only one that sees him dying at the end of the series?
Never.
You don't think Rick's going to die?
Come on, you don't kill the main character. That's just
Breaking
TV
Bad,
writing.
You watch Game of Thrones?
Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones,
Okay. Yeah, they did kill Walter at the end of the series. All right, but you knew that was coming from the beginning anyway.
You
did
did know.
Cancer.
That's true.
I could see Rick going at the
Yeah.
end, because, I mean, I don't know. Or Carl. Rick, Carl, Daryl, I think they're all...
You think they're all about to peace out? What do you think, Glenna?
Last week I said that I think maybe what's that guy, the crazy guy?
Morgan.
I think I think it's possible, totally possible for Rick to die. And then he will be the guy that...
Kind of like Captain America.
Right.
All right, nobody got that reference. Moving on.
Didn't see it, but...
I don't know if I think Rick's gonna die. I'm on the fence. I think he could, very possibly, but I think because he's such a strong leader, I think it would be kind of sad to see him go. Mm-hmm. I would.
It could be a very dramatic final series episode.
Well, here's the thing, if Rick dies, who's gonna take over?
Daryl?
Carl.
Come on.
He's stepped it up. I know. He's still a kid, but you have to see the growth that this kid has had over the seasons. Mm-hmm. He really has become a little adult.
And you really think that all these people are gonna listen to Carl?
Well, he was trained by the
in a zombie apocalypse.
He was trained by the vest, his dad.
How many seasons
Is
left
the show?
are
I don't
there?
know.
Because I feel like a lot can happen in. It's probably gonna be another 10 years. We're gonna be.
Do they drag this?
That would be awesome. This could be the Walking Dead version of The Simpsons, where we just go on for 25 seasons.
Well, I just want to know where they're gonna go with the show. How are they planning to end it? If they end it, they could go on like The Simpsons. But I'm really curious to see what the plans are for how to end it and just have a resolution.
Nukes.
Well, you've heard what people say about Rick being in the coma, right?
Yeah, and I would be.
The creator of the show
What?
actually like jumped on the internet and like, he dispelled that like that's not what's
Oh,
happening.
good. That would.
Because if this
suck.
is like a Walking Dead Lost, I'm gonna flip. That
Right.
And it
Right.
will also go on for another 10 years,
will,
and then
exactly.
everyone is really just dead.
Right.
It was just a dream.
But then that would mean he would wake up and then it's the apocalypse.
No,
and-
normal.
Oh, okay. So he just got shot and then he dreamt all of this.
You
That'd
get a
be
vivid
little
imagination.
intense, right? Like, what kind of imagination do you have? All right, and our next fan question comes from Breezy Bree 232. Do you think there's anything left in Washington, or do you think the group has false hope? So, well, now we know that there's nothing for them to go to Washington for, but I am curious if we think in this type of situation that the government would be taken care of in D.C., like if there would be a kind of a safe haven for people to go to in D.C. So I think it's a great question.
Truthfully, I don't know if this is correct, but there really is this government safe haven, but it's in Alaska.
Really?
Yes.
'Cause it's like,
Like in
like
real
the
life?
event of like a nuclear war type thing, there's like a bunker that's like 300 miles underground or something like that. It's for
Really?
the president and Congress.
You know,
It's in
Alaska
Alaska.
would be like the best bet to go to in something like this because the walkers are just gonna freeze.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
Why doesn't anyone go?
They're no, but they're not gonna like freeze.
But how are they
Like,
going to
they're
get
still
from
gonna be
Atlanta
alive.
to Alaska?
Well, that's a bigger logistical issue, I'm sure. You know,
Just get a boat. I mean,
as opposed to just wandering around Atlanta for 5 seasons like they've done, like go somewhere. Go to
Right.
Canada.
That's
and
true.
there's lots
Right.
of wildlife up there.
Yeah.
You have plenty of food.
But
Where did all the
they don't have
animals
to hunt
go?
squirrels anymore.
there's
they
no
can have elk.
animals and there's no bikes, as we saw on that vein.
well, I think that maybe they know Atlanta really well because they're all from there. Well, I think they're all from there,
Right.
so they're kind of like sticking there, and they're also getting like stopping a lot because it's really hard to just keep
Are
going.
they still in Atlanta, though? Because Atlanta can't be that big. Are they just in Georgia?
I think they're in the immediate vicinity
Yeah,
of Atlanta.
right.
They should just get one of those old school coal trains and just keep shoveling coal in that thing, and it'll keep
just
going.
keep going.
Because unlike a car, I don't care how many walkers, if they get hit by a train, it's done. The train's going to keep going.
Right.
It's not like they're going to stop a car.
But they got to find a train first.
Well, there was
And
train
coal.
tracks over at
Terminus?
Terminus.
Right. The train tracks led to Terminus. But where are the trains?
Oh.
Good luck with that. Okay.
All right, we're going to go to some live questions now. Our first one is from Diamond Zone. Why was Abraham crying? So this is at the end after he beat the crap out of Eugene, and then he kneels down and he starts crying.
I mean, for obvious, like, because he was about to kill himself. And right when he was about to kill himself, Eugene came and, I mean, he had just lost his wife and his kids, and that was like the thing that was saving him. And I think he was just like, I could have been dead now. You know, I could have just been at peace and.
Yeah, that mission is what like filled the void when he lost
Right.
everything. So now once again he's left there with nothing.
With nothing.
He's got nothing.
He has no purpose, nothing.
Nothing to
It's
live
sad.
for.
It's very sad. It is very sad. That makes me like, it was a really good moment. It was a good scene. And
Good character episode for him.
it was a very good character episode. I thought we learned a lot about him and Eugene as well. But it was sad to see.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I usually don't care about any of the other characters unless
Right.
it's like our main people.
Right.
But God, I just have such a heavy heart, and it was like even though we don't really know these people that well, it just still like you really felt for them.
He's probably crying because Eugene saw him naked.
Stop. This is, don't
Okay.
listen to David.
I think we established that doesn't really bother them too much. They just kept going.
That's what, like, it doesn't bother him, and he does it all the time.
Know
They're
that
like,
he's
She's like,
oh, there he is again.
He's doing it again. I'd be like, oh my God, please.
I love that Tara caught him was like she gave him that look like, are you serious? It was great. All right, we have another live question from Forever Johnny Boy. Thanks for tuning in. Do you believe the human race could ever recover from a viral outbreak of this magnitude? Very good question, because I think about that all the time, because I feel like this show, and we talked about this a little last week, really shows what, you know, people can do. And I would be more afraid of humans in this situation than the zombies. Zombies are really slow moving. You can, you know, stab them, shoot them, whatever. But it's the humans that become these animals in a sense, just trying to survive. I don't know if we would survive. I don't know.
It would take a lot of people learning to trust more.
Right.
I think as a species or whatever, we're pretty distrustful of anything and everything, really. So I don't know. It's an interesting thought to see if we could bounce back from something that big.
Yeah, I think it would like every single walker would have to be dead because there would always be that fear. There's like always that enemy kind of, and people would still have that thing in the back of their minds, that's like, oh, like survival, like to eat, like.
It's interesting too, though, because they all have the disease.
That's what I was gonna say. That everybody's a carrier,
and everyone born into this world is going to continue.
Is going to end up being a zombie.
So it's like when someone dies, you got to have someone right there, like. Oh.
Yeah. So it's like who's going to be the last zombie standing, kind of.
Yeah.
Is what
Do they
the
ever come back
is.
from it? Like because you don't know how many people just
Unless
die in
there's
their
a
homes
vaccine,
overnight,
right.
and and they're
Unless
lost in
there's
their
a
walkers.
Unless there's a vaccine.
Yeah. Which I feel like in this day and age, we probably would find something.
Is this virus? Is it like airborne or something?
I think that's
what they established a couple
like
seasons
obviously
ago.
North America's got it. But what about like Europe or Australia? That's an island. Do you think like zombies in Australia right now?
I would think if it's airborne, because remember there was a couple episodes, I don't know which season, where they're like he wasn't bit, but he got it anyway when
it was Shane.
He died. Yes, so Shane.
Carl killed
and then
Shane.
the other
Wasn't bit, and then he
kid
came back.
that they found.
Yeah, they
That's
weren't
when
bit,
they-
and then
yeah.
just when they died, they became zombies anyway. So.
And it was revealed in season 2, because in season 1 was when they met the scientist in the
Right.
that killed himself. And
Right,
blew
at
up
the
lab.
CDC.
That was what he told Rick.
Right, that everybody
Well,
has.
But
it.
why does it only affect humans and not animals?
Okay.
Well, there are no animals. We haven't seen any.
Daryl is hunting squirrels. I haven't
That's
seen
true.
those. Why have they not turned into
true.
zombie squirrels?
That's what I've
while
been
they're hanging on
wondering.
this little thing.
Where are all the dogs and cats?
We really haven't seen any
I can
animals.
see
that was
some
actually
animals
that was
like that.
addressed by the creator of the comics, and his explanation was, "I don't like drawing animals."
That's funny.
Really? Well, I mean, I know they had
One
a
of the
horse in the
illustrators.
beginning. Like, what was the
Well,
first
yeah,
episode?
Yeah,
There have
they
been
did.
two horses, or no.
And we've seen some. Yeah, there were horses, and we've seen some zombies. I feel like eating a deer at one point, or maybe I'm making this up in my mind.
I mean, what do you think they were all doing at that farm? They were probably eating all the
all,
cows.
yeah, the zombies are eating all the animals, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I've always thought about.
Right, but
I
at least
love
a
that.
dog or
Yeah.
something.
Right, a dog.
Yeah. Right, like in I Am Legend we talked about.
Yeah.
With that, like
We did see the dog with Beth and Daryl. There was the dog that was barking.
Oh yeah.
oh, you're right. You're right. But
Right?
one.
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, it's something. No, but
Oh, that's
but
so funny.
there was a,
Probably
there
because
was
they
a
bark
dog.
and they attract all the walkers.
Yeah, babies. Judith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, she just
Give
cries.
Judith
Just
Yeah.
got the worst timing as a baby.
She does. What are our predictions for next episode?
We are gonna see Carol and Daryl mess some people's days up, I think, or at least start planning to get her into the hospital.
Yeah.
See
We
how
think
that
it's
came to
purposeful. We think Carol intended to get caught. It was planned.
Really? That's an interesting
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting theory. Why do you think that? Just to save Beth?
Well, I mean, we just saw the preview for the next episode. We know it's them tracking them down. So
Right.
Now our timelines are all messed up. So the episode we're going to see next week is technically before the episode we saw last week in timeline sequences. But
Which they're going back and forth so much. Oh
I
my
know.
god! I can't
so
keep
we
straight.
know Carol and Daryl are going to go after him, and that's what we're going to see. And they're probably going to mess some people up, and maybe that's when Daryl hooks up with. They
Noah.
send Carol in, and that's when he hooks up with Noah. He grabs Noah, brings him back to the group, and then the last two. We
Yeah.
only have 3 episodes left. So the next 2 episodes is the group coming into the hospital.
Right.
So
3 episodes till the mid-season? Is
Yeah.
that what's happening?
There is no mid-season with Walking
It's
Dead.
the mid-season finale.
It's only like 10 episodes the whole season,
No.
isn't it?
No, I think they're coming back
Yeah.
next year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they
for
come
a
back
few
in
more. I
January,
think it's
I
like
think.
16 episodes or something like that. I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was 10. Last
I think the first season was only 10. I'll be so sad.
I know that's.
um,
There's always so much time in between.
right.
But I think they run into Noah, and then like Noah's like, hey, this, or Daryl's like, did you see the blonde girl? Or they see it happen where Noah and Beth are trying to escape, and
then
they grab
send
Noah.
Carol
They find
in.
Noah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Right.
That's
good
interesting. I
predictions.
hadn't
Yeah,
thought about
that's-
that maybe they witnessed.
No, that's interesting. Yeah. We'll have to see next week. Before we wrap up, we want to give some YouTube shout outs to Forever Johnny Boy, of course, to, I'm going to mess this up, but Baccarat 80 and Diamond Zone. Thanks for tuning in and joining us live. We also want to give some Twitter shout outs to @TWD Family Y, @Walking Dead TVF, and @Walking Dead Live. Thank you so much for tweeting us, retweeting us, and tuning into the show. So go ahead, since you're here watching us on YouTube, subscribe to theStream.tv, share it with your friends, and continue to tweet us throughout the week using the hashtag TWDAS, and send us any questions that you have because we love to answer them on the show and feature your Twitter. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next week on The Walking Dead After Show. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys. Toodles.